Hello guys, hope you're having a great Saturday. Sorry I didn't have a video yesterday. Sadie went to have her teeth cleaned Friday morning, and I picked her up about 3:30 and she was zoned out big time. Never had a dog be that zoned out and lethargic, but she is small. So I thought, she'll wake up in the morning and be just fine. This was Thursday, and I'm talking about Friday morning. So I thought she'd wake up Friday morning just fine. And she woke up and she still looked like she was in La La Land and still wasn't with it. And just barely walking, not playing with any of her toys. Not going to the door unless, well, I say she wasn't going to the door, but she was, but not as often. And so it's been crazy. But here it is Saturday. I mean, she barely ate anything yesterday, probably about an eighth of what she normally would eat. And I didn't give her pain meds because I just thought she looked and acted like she was overdrugged. And so today she woke up and I just thought, okay, second day, she'll feel like a champ. Well, last night, she did lay down with me yesterday, and when she got up, she was just more playful, and she seemed like herself completely after I lay down with her. And this was we got up about 5 o'clock yesterday, and we just laid down for about an hour and a half, and she was all over the place, and she was slightly playing with her toys, but she was barking, and she was jumping, and, she jumped up on the couch, and that's new to her. And anyway, my oldest grandson has been here, and, she just, I don't even know how to describe it, guys. It was so different from what I'm used to with her. So then this morning she wakes up and she's still, here it is 12:45, and she has not eaten but just a teensy tiny bit. So, but she's acting normal, so I guess that's what matters. So today we're going to take a break from our altered book and work on some tags. So I have a lot of tags that I want to make, and so I thought, we would work on tags every other day, and because there's a bunch I have laid out. Now I've already designed each of the tags, and I won't be stitching on camera on these tags, although there are things I really need to stitch now that I think about it. So maybe we will be stitching. But now I have to move all my garb over. Okay, so I hope that you don't mind me moving everything. Listen, I have so many tags set up to make that there is really not any room on my table. So we'll start. The first two things I want to start with are these are a different type of tag. I mean, they're like journaling tags. I already put the coffee stain paper on the opposite side of the ones that need it, but there is no real guarantee as to what's going to need what. So I'm going to pull my sewing machine over, and I'm really not going to work with zigzag. I'm just going to work with straight stitching, and I have gray in my machine. So you wouldn't believe what it looks like around my desk. I mean, you can kind of see. Let me show you. See all this? See? Yeah. And then that's not even counting the other side. There's another big stack of stuff. You can't make a lot of things makes sense. So, not all, but a lot of these are going to go in my Etsy shop. But I got to get them all the type. Like if there's a set, get the whole set done. And I'm only going to really show one of each style probably. And we'll go from there. So on this one, I thought it would be fun to, first of all, we're going to take a bird, and we are going to ink on some of them because I just didn't have time to get everything inked. So this little bird's going to need a little bit of inking, and it's mostly for the cut edges. It's not really for anything else. So I'm not going to like go crazy on that portion. I did ink this because I was going to just make this, and then I decided, maybe not. So I've got some old, you know how they make the runners on tables for doilies, and on the end of it you'd have embroidery and maybe some trim. Well, this is an old torn up table runner, and it is a white, off-white, and I'm going to put it on the back of, I got to get it straight. There, it's barely going to show, okay? So I'm trying to get it straight here, and I'm going to get a clip or two so I can just clip it and it'll hold it for me once I get it in place. Okay, so I'm trying to find an easy clip. Here's one of my Tim Holtz. I'm trying to grab. I'm sorry, this is noisy. Once I get my act together, we'll get started here. So once I get this in place, I'm gonna clip it so it doesn't move. Yeah, that's the only clip I have available. So we'll just do one clip. Now I want to tilt the phone or my camera where you can see me sew and work on this. So I'm gonna kind of tilt it like this. That way you can see when I come back here and you can see when I sew. Now, please excuse the mess. Okay, we've already messed around with 7 minutes, so we need to get started. So the first thing we're going to do is stitch around from this bird around this, I'm going to call it linen. It's not really exactly what it is probably, but that's what I'm going to call it. And we're just going to stitch around the outside of this birdie. Okay. So I just have been in the mood just to sit down and do a bunch of tags. And so that's what we're going to do. Now, not everything on every one will be stitched, but there will be a little bit done probably on most of them. Like, you know, for instance, if there's linen background, it's going to be stitched. If it's like a big clump of doily or, you know, something bulky, it won't be. It'll just be glued. So we're coming. I wish my machine would sew as fast as Rachel's over at Rocky Creations. It is, she can, I mean, her sew machine, it gets with the program. I've tried pushing mine as fast as it'll go, and it still didn't go any faster. So I guess that's not meant for me to do with my sewing machine. So I'm not worried about this sewing being perfect. I like kind of imperfections a lot of times. I like it looking like it was homemade. So I'm knocking things over everywhere. So I'm going to come back here, and I decided that I wanted to add a doily under this bird. So I got a khaki doily. I'm just going to hit it with ink around the edges. It's not going to be stitched on. I'm just going to glue it in place once I decide exactly where it's going to go. I kind of laid things out, you know, not in real detail, but so I'm thinking we put it kind of down and to the right a little bit, but not off the page, because doilies just don't look right once you cut them. So, and I'm kind of going to tilt that a little bit. Now, I've got also a little piece of doily I want to put at the bottom right here. Now, this video, I did pre-plan, but this video is to give you ideas. And I know a lot of you know how to make your tags and so forth. So I just thought it'd be fun to just learn new ways to locate things. Now, we got doily, we got linen, we've got a paper doily, we've got linen, and we've got part of a doily. And so I thought I'd bring out some of Tim Holtz and Seven Gypsies. These are probably the two people that these come from. This is just an old ticket to somewhere. Looks like a train station. And I'm going to slide that on top of the paper doily and under just a little bit, you know, and it will probably be up a little bit higher than them. Now, I had this straight before, but I don't know. I try anything, you know. It can be straight or crooked. If I like the way it looks, that's the way I'll end up doing it. And then here, I'm going to just kind of put that there. Maybe we want this to be straight. Let's see what it looks like straight compared to kind of being tilted. Yeah, I kind of think it looks better straight, doesn't it? Let's do that. Let's make it straight. Now, I don't know if you guys have gone to Tracy's Etsy store and looked at her tiny tags and embellishments or ephemera. It's all really small stuff. I mean, it'll have all kinds of little small things. Like, for instance, I'm just going to give you some examples. Little tiny tags, little tiny guest checks, or little tiny invoices, little tiny envelopes. I mean, it has little tiny stuff, okay? None of it is normal, your normal size. Like, look how tiny. Anyway, but I can't pull it all out because we don't have time, but a bunch of tiny things. And you fussy cut them, and believe it or not, when you see them, you're going to go, oh, those are so tiny. Well, they are, but they're really cute. And she also has a set of tiny little circles. Now, I put all of these on the little rings, okay? Little tag rings. Let's see, they call them tags, but you can see how they look on the back. That's how they did look on the front. But I took my hole punch and punched out all the little elements and glued them on to these tags, silver tags. So I'll be using some of those to decorate, and this is one of them. Okay, now you can poke a hole there and string it on something, but I'm going to use it as an embellishment, and I think I'm going to put it right there. No, I don't like it there. Maybe on the same side right here. Yeah, it just looks better to me. So we've stitched around our picture, and now we're going to start gluing, and we need to glue from the bottom up. So we'll keep these together because we know we liked it like that. So obviously the first thing we have to glue down is the doily. And I think instead of using this, I was going to use my glitter glue, little tiny tip. But I think instead I'm going to use my glue stick because it's super strong. And I'm going to push this up. Oh my goodness, I have so much stuff out. I'm going to push this up a little bit so we can see the book, hopefully. Let me look. Yeah, you can. Okay, so we're going to use the glue stick on things that we can, okay? And on heavier things, we'll figure out something else. Now, it is harder to do doilies with the glue stick. I'll just tell you, some people put the doily down first, or put the glue down first and the doily on top of the glue. But not me. I like the mess. All of this blue glue on here, just so you know, will turn clear. So these are, like I said, from khaki paper or craft. And so it just rubs right off. You do have a design here for the next thing you glue down. So I'm going to put this bird back over here just so I can lay these in the exact same spot. I want to make sure, you know, where we're going to put them. And I'm just going to move that over, and we're going to do this first. Now, yes, I'm going to rub this through all of this glue first and try to not waste any more than necessary. So, yeah, that way it doesn't get wasted. Now I'm just going to use my finger. You know, I've got wipies over here, and you can see on here how your body temp will change it to more like a liquid. I don't know about you, but these glue sticks, I have the worst time keeping my glue stick in an upright position. It drives me crazy. Now this is wanting to stick down, but I rescued it. Okay, so I'm laying my bird over here just so I can have it in the exact same spot. And this I want to be a little taller. Okay. Now, if you want these elements to be loose on here, there's nothing wrong with that. And, you know, you don't have to put as much glue, or you can just use glue in the middle or the center. But I think for longevity, you know, depending on what you're doing, but I like to give it a little bit more. Okay, so I'm thinking, there we go. Now the next thing we need to do is put the bird down. Now I'm thinking, because it's, well, we actually need to put down the doily underneath it. So let's do that first. Let me make sure we have it in the exact place we want it. Whoops, hang on. Probably right there. Okay, so I'm going to put some glue across there with the glue stick, but I'm also going to put a little bit of Fabri-Tac on the heavier side of this, like right down here. I don't want Fabri-Tac, when you see it on lace and stuff, it does dry clear, but you can still see the I don't know, the glue if you let it through the open spaces. So I try not to use that if I don't have to. Okay, so there, I just put it on the edges, and the rest of it is going to glue down due to the glue stick. Okay, so now we're going to put this right here, and I'll be adding this right here to cover this edge. Yeah, perfect. Now, I am going to use glue stick here in the middle of this, but I am going to put around the edges some Fabri-Tac. You know, Fabri-Tac's so expensive. When you can use a glue stick that is really going to hold things, like a good one, I personally think it saves you money. You know, I've been griping the whole time that it's too expensive. And it is. Now I'm getting it all over my fingers. So yes, this girl will have to have a wipey in just a second. that. Okay, so I like the way it shows the doily underneath. Now that does give texture. I mean, any kind of fabric or metal or anything like that, you know, flowers, anything that can give some dimension looks good. Okay, so right here, make sure you guys can still see, right here is how he is turning out. Let's see, I'm going to go like this, put glue in the middle of this that's going to hold, and then I'm going to, every time I do one, I'm going to hold it up and make sure you see it close up. And because this video will be like, kind of like a flip through, or I might go back and show them all to you before I put them in the store, or I may list them as I make them, just so you know. You know, I have a tendency to do that some. Gonna get glue on myself if I'm not careful. All right, guys, you kind of add an angle here, but I wanted to show you up close what the first tag or journaling card, whichever you choose. I mean, we could put a topper on this if we wanted it to be a tag, or we can just leave it like this, and you know, the person who ends up with it can try to get that little bit of glue I can see right there. The person who ends up with it can add the topper if they would like to have one, because you know, some things just you don't want a topper on. I could see that right there smeared out, so I thought we'd get that off. Now this one is done, but we need to ink the back, which I'm not inking in such a way that takes 30 minutes. I'm just hitting the edges. I don't want it to be perfect. As you can see, I'm just kind of, yeah, just slapping it on. Okay, so this slid off in the process because it wasn't dry. I guess I should have gave it some more time. So I got it back on there, and this is tag 1. Okay, so let's do the one that's kind of its sister. That's the brother, and I'm going to bring on the sister. Now, for some reason on the sister, this thing wants to curl up, but I'm going to glue the back while we're here. I mean, ink the back while we're here. Do you ever do that? Just say an opposite word of what you're wanting to say. I'll call everything what it's not before I finally call it the right thing. Sorry. All right, so now we have, I'm going to pull this off. I say I'm going to pull it off. Got glue all over it. Okay, so now we're going to do the sister. And on this one, I'm also going to use a doily, and that will be the first thing that we put in. So we're going to do this doily same way. I know it's kind of gaudy decorations, but we're going to cover that up. But we do need to ink it. So let's just hit it with some ink. I had to make a choice of just preparing everything or inking everything. Because if I hadn't, we would have just been gluing it down. We practically are anyway. But I feel like I love it when people do it this way, you know, when it's something that everybody knows. So I'm going to put this right here, okay? And again, we are going to, look how pretty this little bird, lovebirds are. See how the one's looking up and the other one's looking down? How precious is that? Now, we're going to glue it on the same linen, and we are going to stitch it on the machine. But I got to ink it first. Okay, now we're going to put it on the linen and stitch it. And this gray should look pretty on here. I'm going to do just like that. It doesn't need to be perfect. Get my clip going here. It wants to slide off. That's why you put it one way. I'm sorry, I'm talking with the clip in my mouth. You put it one way and it wants to go the other way. And so I want it to hold still. And so it stays in position while I'm sewing. See, it's already moved over. Get over there. Finally. Still has more on that side, but I can actually trim that off. It's not a biggie. All right, so we're gonna, can you guys see? Yeah, you can. So we're gonna stitch around the card on this one as well. And yeah, give it a little bit of a back stitch. Then you can take off. This is as fast as my machine will go. Right there, you just saw it. It just is aggravating that I can't fly like Rachel does. I'm jealous of that, Rachel. Yeah. Oops, I didn't stitch far enough over. I got to go another stitch here. Okay. I'm sure not as fast as Rachel. She can whiz through there and just have something stitched and looking great. Of course, I know she's a seamstress and she's so talented. Okay, guys, here is where we're going to cut everything off, which is why I'm straight stitching, is because you don't have to tie off or back stitch, you know, on the, my machine won't back stitch, as we all know. Stupid machine. Okay, so I wanted to get this set done because I'm not sure. I think I'm going to put it in this set in my Etsy shop for sure. Okay, get the crooked stuff off. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is go ahead and glue down the doily because we know where that's going to go. We've already inked it, and hit the middle pretty good. Try to avoid as much of the big holes. Although this one has really pretty good size holes, which I think helps keep it from being as bad as those little ones. You can rip them right in half. Okay, so we're going to put it right here. I want it to be as far to this edge and far as to this edge as it can be. There we go. Because, you know, when you cluster on a card or a tag like this, you want it to all do the same thing. Okay, so now this one is different than the first one. I'm going to trim these little wild edges. Okay, now I had this kind of at a tilt. I know I did on this one. And I have this old vintagey looking lace. Now, I think I put it over the top on this one, okay? And it was kind of short right here. And so that's where some of these other little embellishments come in. Now, I'm inking the Tim Holtz embellishments. I have gathered so many tiny little things like this in tickets. I was like, I'm using some of this stuff. Okay, so doesn't have to relate to the birds, but this is going to go under here. Okay, and then we've got the little circle that's got baby blue on it. And it's going to go up under. I want this to kind of tilt up. Okay, so while the bird is here, I'm going to glue these two down. Okay, get my glue stick over here. Okay, and I'm going to put it exactly where we want it. Okay, and now we'll do the little circle. All right. Yeah, just like that. Now we're going to glue our bird down because we want it to, I'm going to put it on a clean one. I'm going to glue it down as much as I can in the middle here so that it you know, doesn't have to use so much of the Fabri-Tac. I'm cheap. What can I say? I bet you guys are too when it comes to crafting. You want to save as much as you can so you can buy something else that you really need. At least that's what I do. Because it doesn't grow on trees, does it? And I'm not talking about just money. I'm talking about, you know, it'd be nice if all of our crafting stuff just kind of showed up and or they came and did door to door. Wouldn't that be cool? So you didn't have to go anywhere to do it. And like vintage stuff, I tell you what, I go regularly to all the vintage stores, but so often there's not the things I really need, and it's frustrating. Okay, so I want this to go across here, and I have this really precious from Ooh La La Crafts rosette that I want to be on here. Now, where on here is the question. I'm thinking right here, kind of like the other one. Okay, so these are precious. I'll just tell you right now. Whoever ends up with this will be like, oh, wow, I love that. And they're worth purchasing. You know, I got mine a long time ago, and I just use one at a time so that it will last forever. And if not, I know where to go. And I can link Christy's Etsy shop in the down below for you guys. Okay, this one little side, I don't like the way it's kind of bent up right here. So I'm going to add a little bit of glue right there to kind of hold it down. On this side, over here, it's kind of doing the same thing. I just don't want you to see a whole lot of glue already. By using the Fabri-Tac, I can already see shiny through my project, and I just used it at the very top, but it just has a tendency to show up everywhere on the page. So now I'm going to glue down this little rosette or flower. It's not a rose, it's just a cute little flower. I'm going to glue it down with Fabri-Tac because it's heavier, and I want it to stay. Okay, now let me find it a home right here. I decided I gotta hold it for a second. And tear that off so I can move on. Now I think I'm just gonna put a dab of glue on the back of this this pretty lace. And this lace is also from Ooh La La Crafts. Okay. I think I stuck it in the wrong spot, but maybe not. We'll see. And when this dries, I'll trim off that shaggy end. But here we go. Here is the next one. Complete. This is the female. This other one is going to be the male. Kind of looks that way, doesn't it? There he is. And here she is. All right. So 2 down, and who knows how many else to go. A lot. That's why I'm trying to get through them. The more I get through, the faster I can get them in my shop. Okay, so I'm going to set these 2 aside. And I don't like how it's got, see how it glistens right there? I'm telling you, it's hard to get Fabri-Tac to cooperate, I feel like. All right, now I'm going to move this one aside, and this will be a set of 2, and it has a lot on it. Okay, there we go. Now we're going to move these over here to dry. And once they dry, I can stack them or whatever I need to do. I'm going to get a wipey for my fingers that are so sticky, and also for the glue bottle. All right, so I can wipe that big blob off and it'll come out better next time. Okay, so now we're going to, let me make sure we're still in camera. Sorry, it's just a tiny space, but I really, really have no space today. Now, like I said, I've got a couple other bird ones I want to get done because there's a lot of pieces. I've just kind of thrown everything on top. So I figure we can do this little blue one first. So this design is going to be blue and pink. And actually, both of the tags in this set are going to be blue and pink. So we have a regular tea-stained white tag. And behind it here, we have book page, okay? And on top of the book page, we're going to have this trim. So first, I'm going to ink this trim really fast. I tell you, I would have even probably tried to have most of it inked, but Sadie was really preventing that from happening. She demanded my attention. And so we're going to ink around the paper as well. And this paper is going to be attached to the card. Now, I got to remember if I wanted to do that or not. Let me see. Yeah, because see, it comes out from here. So let's just go ahead and stitch this down real quick, because I'm not going to put glue where my needle will go, but I am going to stitch it down. Let's see. And I'm taking the time I'm taking on these is because I want whoever wants them to, you know, feel like it was worth it. Okay. I'll ink around the outside of this just real quick right now. And I'll go back and ink the backs of these things later, so it gives us more time. But this part, you want to ink before you get all your stuff down. Okay, and let's see. I'm thinking, do we want to stitch? No, not yet. It's too soon to decide that on some of them. Okay, so I'm over here stitching. I want to get down here and get this done. I just think it'll look nicer. Okay. I left the shaggy side of the paper on it so it would give it more character and look better. See over on this side. Okay, one more side. Before I got on camera, I also glued the inside of all these papers. I went ahead and glued them inside so that, you know, you would have your paper not bubbling out on you. And that way it'll stay together without any problem. All right, so here's where we're at on this one. Then where do we want to go from here? All right, so we're going to glue down this on the bottom. Oh, we got to put this down first. Hello. We want this to go down. Now, did I put it all the way up? I think I did. I wanted it to have that look, and I ran out, so I wanted to not waste any. I just separated it like that. I'm going to put this part down before we do anything else. So I'm just going to glue it down with our glue stick. And that way, if we don't get it positioned just perfect, we know how to do it. Okay. I'm just lining it up there and making sure it's straight. Nope. As I say the word, it doesn't happen. Okay. Okay, now we're going to glue this other little portion. All right, now we got to line this part up now. All right, we were just barely short on this one. And that's why we had to cover it up with this. We have to fix it where it covers that up, like with a piece of the doily under there. So this little bird is not going to be stitched because we got a lot else going on here for him. And I did take this last little piece of a little clip of doily and fix it where it could be at the top here. Just wanted to give it a little different look there. So it's going to be like this. So I'm going to put the doilies down first. Now, I can't remember if I glued I glued everything except the edge, and then I used Fabri-Tac on it, I think. And that way it will stay. Oops, Fabri-Tac, where are you? Just on the edges. Just a little bit. Okay. I hope we can do it and not show that background, but I think this little tag thing will work. So let me lay this little guy back here. Whoops. Just like that. And now we're going to put this one up here underneath. This is the hard part about layering stuff. You got to keep laying stuff down back and forth. Okay, so we want to glue the bird down now. And so since we're not going to stitch it, we're going to just glue him down. Now, I may put a tiny bit of Fabri-Tac on the bottom that attaches to that big blob of doily, which is going to be, I'm making sure it's right. Yeah, it is. So just here where it attaches to the doily, on the top and the bottom. Okay, now we'll glue it down. When you use like doily under it like this, that's, you know, bumpy and lumpy, you know, your picture, not your picture, your, yeah, it is your picture. Your little square of your guy here is going to, you know, be flattened in places, but it still looks good. I wouldn't have used it. Listen, I'm funny about that sort of thing. It drives me crazy if we don't have a little bit of perfection. Now here we have this little rose, and I just think it looks cute like that right there. A rose is facing upright. It covers up where we thought we had the mismatched stuff going on. Now, as far as the lace on the top, I'm going to use this little rosettes from Christie's shop, Ooh La La Crafts. Can't get it to open up. I got it kind of folded down, but when I tie it, it's not going to matter. But both sides are frayed, and this is tea stained rosettes. It's just adorable, and it's going to go on the top. Now what I'm going to do with this little rosette is just tie it in a double knot. I like the way that looks, and the reason I tie a lot of mine instead of looping them through is because they stay better, and I don't have to add glue to them. You know, if somebody doesn't like the trim, they can change it or whatever. But I do a double tie just for that reason. Okay, if I can get my fingers around it. Which, you know, my fingers don't cooperate in just about anything. So I take the longer one and loop it around so that the ends of the fabric are as even as you can get them. And it's not going to be super long. I don't like it where it's just like causing havoc everywhere. Instead, you got a shorter little tie. So this is our, I'm going to bring it up closer so you can see. This is how she ended up. All right, I'm going to set this one aside and bring in the sister, since they're the same. The difference on this one is it's not on a tag. I did it different. It's on a, you can see there's a whole piece of doily underneath. It's on text paper, except there's no text down here. There's just a little bit of text underneath. I went ahead and I thought I glued it down, but I guess I didn't. Well, let's throw some ink around the edge, and then we can get it started here. Now, I've already added journaling paper to the back because I like everything to be a journaling card too, if possible. All right, now we're going to take and put our doily all the way over. It's going to cover up the text. And yeah, this ends up being like 3 pages, and so it's heavier. And I'm going to just lift this up first and glue the places that are, well, you know what? I think I'm not going to do that because then I can't add my glue. So let's do this. got it up here, covering up everything I can. This whole section's going to need glue. So what I'm going to do is put the glue down first. And I know that I have to stay within the text area. Okay. And mostly on this side. But again, the glue stick will dry. And it won't be sticky. And just on these edges, I'm putting... It's making noises because I have it down to that, you know, I told you guys that I wasn't taking the safety label on, or cover, tab, whatever you want to call it, that goes over the glue. I'm not taking it completely out of off my bottle of glue because I don't want it bubbling out, and it hasn't been. And so, I forget who told me about that, but whoever you are, I can't remember, I'm so sorry. Too many names floating out there, but it has sure made a difference in how everything works. So now I am going to ink this little bird frame. This is so cute. Look at that little frame around it. All of the bird images and stuff are different. So I'm just gluing that straight down. But I got to stitch on it first because we don't have stitching on the background, which I really had intended for that to be the stitched portion. I like some stitching on all of the tags somewhere if possible. It just looks better. Looks like you put a whole lot of thought into it. I mean, you can do it on simple tags and stuff, and it will make it look like there was more involved. I have a tendency to, you know, I do simple tags too if they look good simple. Like I've had some in the shop that were simple, but the simplicity is what they needed. You know, it looked better. And so that's why they ended up looking like they did. All right. Let's get that baby off of here and onto the tag. All right. Get this ready for the next thing to be stitched. All right, now we've got this portion, so now we need to glue this down. It needs to cover that little stain. Not really, but there is a little stain right there. Okay, so another thing that I ended up doing was pulling out some more of these little things, little somethings, and I'm not sure where these little doodads come from. There's no telling. But I decided on this one. Let's glue this down first, and then I'll tell you. I decided on this particular one that I would add a little photograph. It's nothing big or fancy. I just thought it looked cute on it. I'm going to add a little bit of Fabri-Tac here again because I don't want it coming off. Just a little bit, just here and there. If I can keep my fingers out of it, that will help. Okay. I think Fabri-Tac is feeling jealous. Okay, I love this little pink and blue bird. I don't know my birds. I've never really worked with nature other than in school. It's not ever been, you know, I know some of my birds, but I know some I don't like that we have, but we have a sandpiper in our front flower bed. And there's been a mama and a daddy hanging out. The mom and daddy hung out before the baby eggs came. And then from there, we got one egg the first time. And I mean, when she squawks, you wouldn't believe, she looks like a turkey. But sandpipers are white and black, and they have really long legs. And I have to tell you, they're really cool looking. And they're not a nuisance like some birds, except that they do guard their loved ones. So I'm putting these 2 tags down first because, oh, wait a minute, I can't do that. Let me just kind of lay these here for now. Forgot to put the lace down first. Silly me. So we're going to put this white and pink, or cream and pink lace that has flowers on it across the bottom. Now, I'm going to do it straight rather than at the same angle as the picture. So I think I'm going to use, I think I am still going to use the glue stick now that I think about it, because it'll dry in a color that won't matter. So if we can keep it down this way without shiny glue showing, I think that's the best deal. I'll have to trim a little bit of this off when the glue dries, because I cut them a little wider than we need. Okay, so I'm going to do it straight. Let me make sure it's straight. I don't want to raise it up after it's dried and it be, you know, going the wrong direction. Now, my fingers are so sticky, if I'm not careful, I'll pull it off. And any of the blue will go away. Okay, and I will trim this. When we finish, if you look, you'll notice that some of it will have already gone away. Now, I'm going to add a little bit more glue to the back of these because it's kind of dried since then. All right, now, I got to see what's the upright. This is the upright. And so, let me think. Let me see which way I want to lay those, if I can. Just like that. Now, you're probably thinking, what's up with the 35 on there? Well, the picture is gonna cover that up, and I'm about to bring the picture over to glue down. And here we go. I don't know who they are, but they're gonna be on a tag. And so I'm just kind of angling things different. As you can see there, really did not go like I wanted it to. I wanted this, let's see what it looks like. I really wanted it just to, yeah, I like that better. I had the picture more in the middle to start with, but I mean, you can always go back and you can add whatever, you know, to make it look better. I'm going to trim this off. It looks like it's dried some. And now I have the same fabric to top this with, but I don't have a hole there. So I'm going to look here, see if I can get it to cooperate with me and open up. And I think I'm going to stitch it across the top. And I'm trying to get it apart, but I should have probably pressed it, but what can I say? I didn't. But I'm going to kind of tilt it to one side. You know, it's going to look kind of side looped a little bit. Now, I am going to stitch this on the machine because it'll look better, but I'm just going to do it across the top of the fabric. Just a second. Okay. And I'll just do it across the top of the tag here, and not the whole tag, just the portion that has the fabric top, and then I'll back stitch across the whole thing. That way we know it will stay. And here we go. Let me get that trimmed off first. Come on, my scissors are getting dull. I use them on everything. This particular pair, you know, I use it on the glue. I have another pair, but they're not as loose. They don't feel as loose. They feel really tight, and I don't like that. So I'm going to take my sewing ones that are cut better and see if I can trim that off a little bit. Now, I don't like the way it ended up there. That's better. All right, so this is the second one. It goes with the first one. Aren't they pretty? Didn't they turn out? Whoops, I'm flipping them everywhere. I think they turned out really pretty. And there's differences about them. I just thought they looked cute as a set. Now, I'll move this one up so you can see a little better. And a review of this one. And so there they are together. All right, now I'm going to set these over to dry as well. And let me see how much time we have. Oh my goodness. Can you believe that we only got 4 tags done in an hour? So I'm going to go off of here, and then I'm going to continue this after we do the book page one more time. And we'll just alternate. And there's a lot of tags here to be made, so we will be busy with altering the book one day and doing tags the next day. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, I'd appreciate a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed, join us. This is really fun. See you next time. Bye.